So I'm filming an experiment today because I had never heard of a transparent mixing white, which is basically zinc white. The brand I'm using is Amsterdam because I didn't want to spend a lot of money, and it's an inexpensive brand to test things out with. I usually use Golden, or I have also used Stevenson, which is a Canadian brand, but they're no longer producing paint as far as I know. So anyway, so I'm going to try the mixing white versus just a regular white, mixing colors, because the problem with when you mix the colors, you end up with this sort of, like, if you have a blue, you end up with like a baby blue or a baby pink, and that's not necessarily what you're after. You just want a lighter tone, and you have to be so judicious with the color that it becomes or with the white, adding the white, that it becomes a real situation. So anyway, so here I'm gonna just kind of put out some of the blue, and so I'm gonna just spread it with, mix it with the zinc white and then the regular titanium white. So this is just the blue on its own, and then this is, if I add some, I'm just going to put a dollop of that's the titanium here, and this one is the zinc white, or mixing white it's also called. So I'm going to try those. Let me grab a rag to wipe off my blade in between. And so we're just going to mix in. I'm going to try and get the same amount of each. So I'm just kind of taking like a little pea amount, and I'm going to mix it in with this first. This is the titanium. And see how you're getting this sort of chalky baby blue color, which is almost never what I'm after anyways. But so there's with the titanium white, and I'm going to try to get about the same amount of the zinc or mixing white, and mix that in and see if it does make a difference. Oh my goodness, look at that. See, I had no idea. And I'd watched a couple of videos where they were talking about it. I thought, no. But look at that. It actually, it just sort of lightened it up, but didn't really change the hue of the thing. So I'm gonna just add a bit more of the titanium just to kind of make my point further, I guess, and kind of check out what it does. And look at that. It's like so pale. It's really changed the color to this, well, that's not a bad color, sky blue color. And let's add more of the zinc white. And again, see the difference in that? Like I've added the same amount of white to both colors, but it's really just kind of changing the tint and not so much the hue, which is really nice. Let's add even more of that and what happens. So, you know, I've added a fair bit of white, which if I had added that much titanium white normally to a blue, it would be virtually white at this point with like a very pale. But look at that. Isn't that interesting? So here's what we're going to try now. We're going to try red, because red is also a problem. We end up with this pink tones. So I'm just going to wipe that off my palette a little bit. And I'm just going to let that dry, and we'll come back when that's dry, because I just don't want to waste another palette. That's all. That's my only reasoning for doing that, because I don't want to waste a palette. And so So that's pretty dry. And even if it does transfer a little bit of the color, it's not a big deal because this is just an experiment. So again, here's the red. This is rose red. I'm using. And there's some more of the titanium. And some more of the mixing white, or zinc white. All right, and so I'll just kind of, again, spread that out a bit so we can see that color. The way it looks, that's such a pretty red. I love that red. And but the problem is when you add the mixing white, or the titanium, you end up with it just really going pink. And sort of a muddy. Now it might be picking up some of that blue underneath, but that's neither here nor there. It's still sort of not a very pretty color in the end. Well, let's see if we mix the zinc white in there. Sorry, let me just hold that down. And look at the difference of that. Holy smokes. That's incredible, really. It's like just slightly lightened it up, but really didn't affect the hue, just sort of the tone of it. And I'll even add more of that to look how much I can add of that before it even really starts changing it to a pinky. Look at that. I've added so much more of that white, and it still has just lightened up the tonal value without really changing the chroma, the hue. So what a discovery for me. I'd never even heard of or used this before, but you can bet your bacon I'm gonna be using some zinc white from now on for mixing, because what a huge difference that is to just lighten up the tonal value, but really doesn't change the chroma color, the hue of it. That is just astounding to me. I hope you found this video interesting and useful, and we'll see you again soon.